Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to your next session on the Alchemical Summit. I'm truly overjoyed to be here with all of you and to celebrate the launch of the Elohim Healing Institute. I am excited to share the wisdom and a little bit about my journey and also speak on the topic that you are all here for. And before I start, I want to thank my incredible mentor, Gregoria, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this launch. The Elohim Healing Institute, I feel it in the fiber of my being that it's going to make so many beautiful waves and it's going to pave the path for some incredible, soulful leaders to share their light with the broader community. So thank you for being here and thank you for making the time to sit with me and soak in all the codes that I'm going to drop into your body in just a moment. So before I start with the whole topic of why I'm here, I just thought I'll give you a little bit of an introduction of who I am, how did I come about to do this work, and why I am, feeling so called, and I've made this work my mission to impact all the souls on this planet. So my name is Dr. Divya, and I am an intuitive visionary mentor, and I help souls with understanding their human design, regulating their nervous system, as well as embodying their highest soul light expression. And the reason why this became my mission, and it's, my mission only keeps expanding as I keep evolving as well, is because of my own journey through recovering from a burnout. And my spiritual journey started around 4 to 5 years ago consciously. And it's been such an eye-opening experience for my own self into the aspects of my soul's desires and also connecting with my higher self. And every rebirth has felt like a true liberation from within. And I never knew that, being alive, that we could also live and die and be reborn again at the same time. So I guess that's all about the package that comes with being a human being. So today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how we can prepare our nervous system to hold the light codes. And why I specifically chose this topic is because we are at such a pivotal point in the human evolution. And we all know that the Earth has been experiencing her beautiful evolution, and we all have been upgrading ourselves as well. And there's been an influx of light codes that's been dropping onto planet Earth so that we can all move into the state of consciousness where we are enlightened to the higher purpose of our existence on planet Earth. And for me, this journey was mapped out in different ways. And obviously it was not a very linear growth, and healing can be very zigzag and all over the place. But when I started working with my nervous system, at least understood that, I can have more of a synchronized and strategic approach on how I can connect with my body. Because we are bottom-up creatures, and everything that we experience in life, the awareness that we feel about life, actually happens on the inside. And the awareness also births through our connection with our environment and our connection with the people around us as well. When we are connecting with another person, we are basically syncing up with the other person's nervous system. This is the place where we also pick up cues of safety, cues of danger, cues of love. So if one person's nervous system is dysregulated, what I mean by dysregulated is basically disassociated from their body's consciousness, because of which they're unable to fully drop into the experience of the feeling that's present in front of them. So a prime example for this is when two different people who are in like different environments, say one person is at home and the other person is coming from a stimulated outside environment, and when they meet together, they are actually not in sync. This is where a lot of the arguments and the confusions and the chaos happens in communication. There's a massive disassociation with their nervous systems. So just to preface, our nervous system is the system that holds the fiber of our body. It is what holds, it's the structure, the inbuilt structure that gives life to our body. It holds the codes, it holds information, and it also sends signals to the brain to process. Our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system actually begins from our brainstem, so it starts from here and it extends all the way till the bottom of your feet. And the autonomic nervous system has the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system as well. And how we work with the nervous system is very unique, but again, there is a specific way in approaching the connection towards the nervous system. Because when we were born, we were such pure souls, didn't have any conditioning, and our nervous systems obviously experienced the external stimulation, which created the responses in which it's going to react as we grow older. So this is where, a lot of people feel the pressure from trauma, as well as not only from their own personal trauma, but also trauma from the society that they grew up in, which creates inbuilt patterns that, stops them from embodying their soul light expression. When we tap into our nervous system, we are actually giving our body the consciousness for it to speak through it. It is the interface through which we experience metamorphosis. It is the interface through which we allow our body to go through that depth of darkness and also move into the lightness of the being that it came here to be. So working with the nervous system plays such an important role in the transformation of who we came here to be. The nervous system is not, and regulation is not just like, a buzzword or just another treatment or a modality. It's not a one size fits for all approach as well. It is very unique to each soul, and every single person goes through a different journey with their own nervous system. What happens, what stops one person from connecting with their nervous system is trauma. We all experience trauma in different shapes and forms, and trauma actually is the gateway through which we can have a big breakthrough. Because if trauma is not there, we would definitely not understand who we are at the core of our being, because the conditioning that we experience, the trauma that we experience in our personal lives and from our society is basically the gateway through which we unlock the core of light that is present within us. And this happens differently for different people, like I mentioned. But the first step in taking that approach is understanding that our nervous system is here to support the growth of our soul's journey. If we truly want to embody our soul's light expression, we need to have a regulated nervous system. When light pours in from above and it hits the Earth's frequency, if we are not in a regulated state, we are unable to take in that light. And that actually prevents us from, evolving into the next version of ourselves. And this is what creates symptoms and psychosomatic stress in the body as well. And it's the same thing when we are, not making the time and the energy to process the trauma that we pick up from our environments. Trauma is very unique to different people, but again, it is not something that needs to be looked at as a negative or a dark aspect of ourselves. It is actually, I look at trauma as the gateway through which I can actually open the light within me. Every single cell has the power to move into that space of holding the light that we came here to hold. And this is why I'm so deeply passionate about helping people unlock the codes within their nervous system. And when we start working with the nervous system, we need to be very gentle, because our nervous system loves patience, and every single attuning happens through practice, and it's very nuanced and it's very subtle. So it's important that we give the nervous system the space for it to nurture. It's just like how it's the nervous system needs to go through that flourishing period, especially when you're regulating it, because when a child, is in the mother's womb, we need to wait for that 10 months for the child to grow into its own being. We can't allow the process to quicken or for it to happen any sooner. And that's the same way with how we nurture our nervous system. Our body's consciousness is very unique. It loves to connect with us. It loves to talk to us. But what happens is most of the time, because in this society, most of the decisions have been made through our mind. But we forget that our mind actually picks up evidence from our body's consciousness. So how we react to our environment and how we process our emotions is how our brain makes the decision as well. So the brain basically picks up evidence of what's memorized in your body, and that actually determines your energetic bandwidth, which makes the baseline of who you are and how you communicate with the world that's around you and how you react to circumstances in life as well. If your energetic bandwidth is not regulated and you're not allowing yourself to expand, this can constantly feel as friction in your system, right? You end up reacting rather than responding to your environment. You are constantly in states of anxiety. You're constantly in states of fear, and in this vicious cycle of fight or flight, or you end up freezing your nervous system. When you go into these three states, your soul pushes you to move forward, but you're unable to allow that soul light expression to come through because your body has closed up. The constriction stops you from embodying who you came here to be. This is why regulating your nervous system is so vital. When you start regulating your nervous system, you not only allow yourself to, expand the energetic bandwidth, but you also allow the expression that your soul has, come here to express out into the world effortlessly. And you're not hustling your mind or you're not hustling your body to make something happen. Life starts happening for you, and you're just like walking this beautiful path that your soul, came here to experience as a human. So when these light codes drop into the earth, what happens is, people call that as ascension symptoms, as stress and moving through all these frequencies and all these things happens to our body. It's basically your nervous system trying to sync up with Earth's frequency. So this is why if you have access to your toolkit, it's going to help you match up to those frequencies, and you are actually going to find that your body gives you the cues of when to take rest and when to actually keep going and moving that energy as well. So let's look at how we can regulate our nervous system. And I'm going to share a few important tips that might be useful for you. And I will also give you an understanding of the different states of the autonomic ladder so that you can use these tips in your day-to-day life and see if it makes a difference. So one of the first steps to understand when we start working with the nervous system, especially when we start regulating, is that we are working with the rhythm of our body. Our rhythm basically connects to the rhythm of the earth, and that connects to the rhythm of the universe. We are beings of light that have this beautiful rhythm, these waves that connect us, and that also allows us to experience life in synchronistic ways. So when I started working with my nervous system was obviously all over the place. And one of the first things that allowed me to come back into a sense of understanding that I was actually dysregulated was using the autonomic ladder. And this was actually developed by Deb Dana. So in the autonomic ladder, what we understand is to map out when we are moving through different states in our nervous system. So over a period of time with evolution, the human evolution, it started off with being in the dorsal vagal, in the parasympathetic dorsal vagal of state, where we, waited for the arrival of death, and we surrendered to death. And then we moved into this phase of survival response, of fear, of like living in a constant state of fear. And now the evolutionary period is moving into this ventral vagal state of social engagement and calmness and connection. So this is why it's with evolution, if we are holding these codes of survival and fear in our body, we are going to feel constricted with the phase in which the collective is moving in as well. So that is why prioritizing regulation will help us move along with the bandwidth in which Earth is evolving. The other tip that I have to share is that, when we start working with our nervous system, a lot of work that we do, especially, in the mystical world where we try to access these frequencies and activations, and we want to all tap into our channeling abilities and bring forth these messages. Everything that comes from the higher dimensions actually moves through the interface of your nervous system, and then it comes through as a channeled message. So if your nervous system holds codes of trauma and the cells are blocked and it's actually not embodying the frequency of light, those messages that comes through your body, it might not come through effectively. It might actually block you, or it might actually feel very disconnected and disoriented, and you might not actually feel the energetic resonance of the message that you're sharing. Because when we start speaking with clarity and conviction, that really lands in another person's soul. And there's reason why, all these speakers and public speakers and people who are doing all the soulful work and embodiment work, it comes through, it lands on a heart because they're able to embody that energy of light within themselves. You cannot fake embodiment. You can see through people who are embodying their light. So prioritizing, the work the way in which your nervous system operates, and understanding when to honor the rest, right? When to understand that your emotions are all over the place, and sitting back with yourself and connecting with the cues of your body and checking with your body. Do I need to rest right now? Do I need to move? Is there something that my body needs that's going to enhance the experience that I'm feeling right now? Because the space of the emotions that rise from our body, most of the emotions, it only takes a minimum of 90 seconds for it to be moved through from our body. All it wants is to be seen, felt, and heard. So when we create the space for these emotions, they don't get stuck in our body. They don't get trapped in our cells, and they don't cause us pain. They don't cause us any conditioning. They are there, and they are nothing but energy in motion, and we are moving with it, and we, get to experience these waves, and we honor them, and we make way, and we keep going and allowing ourselves to evolve into the next stage of our lives as well. And the nervous system is the only way through which you can actually embody your soul light expression. And I might probably have said this a ton of times in this whole video, but I have to emphasize that again and again. And we want to be able to embody that effortlessly moving forward in our lives as well, because there's just been a lot of noise, and there's been a lot of distractions that has, blocked us from actually understanding the depth of our being. Most of the connections that we experience in our lives have become like very surface level. Like, check in with your own self to see how many people in your circle do you actually have where you can have in-depth, soulful conversations. How many people are there in your life that are actually allowing you to embody the light of your soul? How many people are there who are allowing you to be witnessed in your trauma, right? Because all this is very important. And our autonomic nervous system is basically the heart of our lived experiences, right? So we want to make sure that we are creating an avenue for the autonomic nervous system to experience life in the most magical, abundant, and expansive way. And the other thing with nervous system regulation is, when you understand which state. So the ventral vagal state is the state in which, you're calm, you're more composed, you're more aware, and you know how to, be in a state of composure. And the parasympathetic state of dorsal vagal is when you are like, you feel completely frozen, you feel very disconnected, and it's a state of immobilization. And we all go through these different stages in our life, right? So when we are in a state of immobilization, we need to move through the state of mobilization with it, which is the sympathetic fight or flight, in which our body is already active, our body is actually in state of movement. So we want to make sure that we are moving that energy consciously and then moving into the ventral vagal state. So this is why a lot of people, if all they do is try and meditate, it might not work for them, because maybe their body is like in an active state. It needs more of an active state of meditation rather than like, a sitting and a conserving state of meditation. So again, doing a lot of breath work, doing anything around like qigong and tapping and waking up the body is such a beautiful way to regulate your nervous system. Also doing like, cold shower and cold plunges. But again, I wouldn't do that if you are in a free state, because you want to slowly allow the body to wake up to that next stage, because otherwise your body will go into shock. But the most important thing of all is to allow yourself to embody the feeling of uncertainty, to allow yourself to feel the energy of being in the unknown and being in the void. Because the moment you practice uncertainty and, allowing your body to experience what it is to embody failure, when failure and when the unknown meets you, you will not shock your system. You will be more prepared to move through it. You will know and have complete trust and faith that God is going to get you to the next stage in your life, no matter what, right? It's because we have not been taught this in our schools or in our environment, and we can't blame our parents either, because probably they were never taught of this as well. Uncertainty is such a vital part of our life. So our nervous system loves when we can trust the unknown as well. But our nervous system also loves it when we know how to navigate when it's in the unknown. And so this is where, supporting our nervous system with conscious words and connecting with our soma, connecting with our body in the most loving and beautiful way will help us move forward, and will also help us speak our light expression effortlessly. And yeah, I just want to say that this whole journey is a very humbling process. And it is a process of, allowing yourself to witness who you are and who you came here to be. So be gentle on yourself when you are regulating your nervous system as well. And it's so important at the start, if you've never regulated your nervous system, to do that with another co-regulator who has that grounding of safety present with them, who can hold that space for you, because we are all are a space holder, whether you are a business owner, a mother, a friend, a daughter, a wife, whoever it is, right? You end up holding space for the connections in your life. And it's important that we connect with people who can hold that space for our nervous system and allow the aliveness that's present in the structures of our being to be felt, seen, and heard. Because once you start regulating your nervous system, once you step into the zone of co-regulation and you co-regulate your nervous system, when you are alone and when you're going through these difficult moments, you automatically activate the self-regulation, because you know what it is that your body feels when it's in a co-regulated space of safety. Then even when you are going through difficult times, you automatically can revert back to those feelings where you can bring that deep sense of safety in your body and navigate through this internal landscape, your kingdom, the ocean of your being, and give yourself the permission to be experienced in the most soulful way. It's a journey that I recommend every single soul that I come across to go through, because there were times that I felt very unsafe in my life, and I never felt safe with myself, and I never felt safe with anything that was there in my life. And I was constantly looking for that external validation. Won't this person make me feel safe? Won't that thing make me feel safe? I should probably get this thing for myself. I should do this course in order for me to feel safe. But it's not about that. The feeling of safety is something that comes from within you. And it's about moving through those codes and those existing codes of trauma in your body and allowing them to be seen and witnessed, and creating that deep sense of safety from within yourself for you to allow your beautiful soul light expression to come through. And yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to share. But if this type of work is really calling you in, I want you to tune into your body and allow the consciousness of your body to speak through you. And I am here to help you. And I just want you to know that the deeper work of doing this work is, allowing that permission, giving ourselves the permission to be the person that we came here to be, breaking that generational trauma, because this is also us liberating our ancestors. It's not only us. Our ancestors had to go through those freeze and fight or flight states. And somehow, they made it to a point where, we are still here. So it is our duty, and it is a duty of our soul for us to liberate ourselves. And it happens through the interface of your nervous system. So if you're ready to embody your soul gifts, don't wait any longer to regulate your nervous system. Give yourself the permission to be liberated from within. And I just want to tell you that you are absolutely safe to be vulnerable. Your vulnerability is your superhero, and I'm here to respect that. And yeah, just know that working with the nervous system, accessing this enlightened state of consciousness is not something grand and superior and special, but it's actually something that's more conscious and aware and simple, yet complex. But you have the awareness of the unconscious matrix that you live in, so you can understand when you are dysregulated and when you are regulated to live your light expression. So yeah, that's my wisdom, and I hope you all enjoyed this wonderful talk. Thank you again, G, for giving me this opportunity. You guys can connect with me on my Instagram. It's Dr. Divine Deeds. Sorry, Dr._Divine Deeds. And yeah, I have a ton of offerings, and I also work one-on-one with people to help them co-regulate. So if this work is deeply calling you, and I also have a group container that's starting very soon. So come join us, and I would love to serve your beautiful nervous system and help you liberate so you can embody the codes that you came here to embody. Lots of love.